Welcome. So, is man disposable? Like these feminists and SJWs and these weird females who obviously aren't thinking they're straight say he is. Well, let's take a look, shall we? And I'm going to take a look at it through the nature's point of view, not through anything else. Okay, so let's look at the man when he's a young man. He's producing sperm. He can impregnate women and they can become pregnant and they can produce a child or whatever. He can also have sperm up until 60 years old or even past 60 years old and still be viable for a baby. So that's a good point of the male right there. He's strong, agile, he can build. He's a logical thinker, so he can also imagine something and actually invents things to help society. And he can do all this all through his life until his death of old age. He may not be able to work as hard, but he can still do the work. He can still think with his brain. He's a very useful tool to have on the planet. He's also very good at protecting, being in the army, and he can protect the country from invaders. He does a very good job of that as well. So, a very versatile human being. In fact, he's like a man is like a Swiss Army knife, if you think about it. As a tool, he's pretty well geared right up. The only thing a man cannot do is have a baby. Yet. That's the only thing a man cannot do on the planet. And be useful on the planet right up until the day he dies. Let's take a look at the female. Now the female's body is, I believe, geared up, I think it's 82% for reproduction only. So a whole 82% of her body is just for reproduction. And that is a limitation right there, obviously. Her brain is more emotional, and that's for bringing up the child. It works better that way. So they're not so great at inventing things, imagining things and inventing them as a man is. They're more social, emotional things, right? And that's what they're supposed to be, because they're bringing a child into the world and they're looking after the child. That is the best sort of thing to have. Now, a woman becomes sexually mature sooner than the man does in normal cases, and that's because nature knows that she only has a very short window to be able to have babies. Women think it's forever, but it's not. For them to safely have a child is a very brief window. And women think because they can have a baby, they are so fantastic a people. But let's take a look around in the animal world, and every female animal has babies. A female rat has babies. That's hardly a fantastic feat. A miracle is something that happens occasionally, very rarely. But there's babies being born everywhere, from dolphins to bears to, all the female animals are doing it. So it's not a great feat, if as such, in nature, that is, because that's what they were built for. I mean, she does have some breasts hanging off her chest, which doesn't make walking, doing certain jobs and certain things very easy, I wouldn't have thought. So that's that. But a woman can't have babies all her life. It's only for a short period of time, and then they stop being able to have babies, or it's unsafe to have a baby. But eventually her eggs will run out, and then what? She can't have babies anymore. So her usefulness on the planet to have babies is finished, it's done, it's over. So now what does she do to help civilization, to help, the planet? Well, my guess would be that in the tribal days she would look after a creche of some sort, and she would do the cooking and things like that. Her usefulness is done. They're just finding work for her to do that a man could easily do. So when they finish having babies, what is their purpose on the planet? So you see, it seems to me that the woman is a disposable item after her usefulness is over, not the man. The man continues to be useful right up until the day he dies, but a woman loses her usefulness, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as she stops being able to have babies. And of course she can do other jobs and everything else, but that's just invented by the civilization, that's all. I'm talking about in the real sort of picture. So let's assume that the male is a Swiss Army knife and the female is probably just a straight blade. So let's say, guys, you've got a toolbox and you've got your male tool in there and you've got your female tool in there. Nearly every job you go to do, you'll be picking up the male tool. He's very versatile. The female tool, you might be able to use it on the odd job here and there, but not often. And if you lost your female tool in your toolbox, you could still carry on and do your work. No, what I think is that women should start earning their keep. Because they've had a baby or two, doesn't give them the right to be able to just take the rest of the time off, which is what women think they can do. The animals, the female animals in the wild don't do that. Yeah, I think they should earn their keep. What do you think?